Hi, everyone. This is Tracy. I'm a sixth grade language arts teacher in Charlotte, North Carolina, and this is my Boy Who Harnessed the Wind Google slide deck that is for sale on Teacher Pay Teachers. So, I'm just going to walk you through what is available in my slide deck. I teach this for an entire quarter, so this is quite a lengthy amount of slides. So, it starts out with learning targets. I'm going to take you through. The lessons are not separate. I just teach the full class period that I have. Our blocks are an hour and 20 minutes, and I teach and then I stop and then we pick up the next day. So mine don't have a beginning and an end. It's all of the slides together. So it talks about essential questions. And then the first thing that I'm going to walk you through is infer the topic. So the kids are going to, before they actually start reading the book, they're going to walk around and look at resources that I print and hang around the room or out in the hallway on the lockers. And they get to look at what they're getting ready to study and infer what the story is going to be about. And then there's a lot of building background, which is one of my favorite things to do. I found this video of Rihanna. She's in Malawi, where the setting of the book takes place, helping kids at school. One thing that this slide deck does have, you can see at the bottom, is anything that I give the kids in terms of a printed handout or a digital copy is linked for you below, and there are lots. So this is a building background about Malawi. I can show you the country in Africa where William is from. You can print this or you can make it digital. I do it digital. I'm really into music in the classroom as well. It has the music soundtrack for the movie. The movie is or was on Netflix. We do not watch it at school, but a lot of the kids have watched it. So they research all of these topics and fill in this doc. All right, so we are back to inferring the topic, looking at critical problem solving. Here's a video clip on wind turbines and how they work. Most kids don't understand that, so you have to go into a little bit of science. In this novel study, we do depth and complexity icons, and we do this for, I think, 3 chapters. We do it for the prologue, we do it for chapter 4, and we do it for chapter 8. If you don't have any background on it, it's okay on what depth and complexity icons are. It's just a way to really analyze what they're reading, but it's all in here because this is the first time the kids have ever done it. So it basically introduces it to the kids, and it would teach you as well. Here's a video of children explaining how to use depth and complexity icons to make more in-depth thinking for themselves. I also have obviously I have a YouTube channel, and I recorded myself reading every chapter, and you have access to that as well, but you have access even if you don't get this. I don't actually play the videos in class. I use it for students who are absent or struggling readers, but you can use it in class if you want to. All right, so here is the first depth and complexity lesson, and it's a more of what I do, you do when you're modeling for kids. Here's the handout for you to print for the students, and then this is for you to have up on the board. I do have access for you. I have a printed copy down here below of my key and everything that I filled in as I taught, so you do have the key for that. Okay, then we're going to read chapter 1. I linked the YouTube video, and then we gist is just the 3 main things, the 3 main details that happen in the story. Here are some discussion questions. Then talking about how William uses these steps from NASA to create his windmill. It's not a spoiler, he does create the windmill. I mean, that's the name of the book. All right, so here's the first. This is a differentiated lesson. William did a TED Talk. And so the lesson is you will differentiate. You're going to put your kids in different groups. And I left this slide for you just to type in their names. So what they'll do is each set of kids will get a different handout, which is included. It's linked below, of different handouts. So one group will do what is ethos, pathos, and logos. Then the other will do the 6 presentation tips stolen from TED Talk. And then the other group will do the actual transcript of William. William struggles to speak English in the TED Talk because was in like 2007, I think. He hadn't been exposed to that much English yet. So they will analyze that. They have specific things that they're looking for that they will fill in. They have a doc that is included of all of the things in the TED Talk that they're looking for, and then they take it back to their group. Yeah, it was 2007 when he did it. Then they take their work that they did back to their group, and then they teach their group. So it's basically a jigsaw. All right, here is another TED Talk. This is really interesting way to connect to William. This woman did a TED Talk on the danger of single story, and it's about how most people have stereotypes of what they think people in other countries are like. It's really good, and it's at their level. And then here are some discussion questions. I include YouTube links to various like fireplaces and ambiance and all kinds of stuff for the seasons, just to have like a vibe in my room. So it's included in the slides. Then here's a skill that we teach, author's method. I include some stuff, Alan Gratz, just about how he writes. Then there's a writing assignment for them. Then we learn how to characterize William. We use academic conversation, these stems. You teach the kids how to use these stems to have in-depth discussion, more text-dependent questions. Then if your kids don't know how to annotate yet, I included a mini lesson that I teach at the very beginning of the year on how to teach kids how to annotate. And you have access to all of the docs, both printed or digital, your choice of how you want to teach it. So it's like a little separate mini lesson on how to annotate. All right, and then we do standard and focus annotations in my grade level, and this teaches the kids all about the difference and how to do it. You can have this as a chart, an anchor chart hanging up in your room. And then the kids start to read. So I always include the YouTube video for kids who are absent, because we don't do it in the classroom. The time, I like to know how long it's going to take for the kids to read the chapter. So I always include that. That's really for myself if I know it's going to take a long time or a short time. And how I do it is we read in book clubs. So my kids sit in groups of 5 or 6. I have 28 kids, 29 in another class. And I put them strategically in book clubs. It's who they sit with, and they read together. And so it really works. And then they do their annotations together and have their discussions together. It's not always book club. They get tired of it sometimes. All right, so here is incorporating author's method into Boy Who Harnessed the Wind. Then the next skill you're going to teach is central idea, main idea. Here's a little mini lesson on teaching central idea. And then how to find important information versus interesting details. More with that. Then here is exactly how we do all of the chapter work. I'm not going to show you every single one because they're basically the same. Here's a really cool idea. I actually teach this in December. So on the last day before we get out for winter vacation, the kids bring in popsicle sticks, tape, and twine, and they try to build the tallest tower in groups, and they use William's methods for just like reinventing and process and error. And so it's really fun. So that's why it's got a snowman timer. But if you're not using this in December, you can change the timer. There's tons on YouTube. And I also included a video on how to put those into your Google Slides. It's in this slide deck for you if you don't know how to put these videos into your Google slide decks. All right, so here's chapter 4, depth and complexity. Looks the same, except you're looking for different things. The teacher key is included on this slide for you. Then you come back to the mongoose, honey badger groups, the differentiated groups, and they look for depth and complexity icons specific to their group. And then they come back to their group and teach their group what they learned. Then we write a summary, how to summarize. Here's some work with figurative language. The kids already know figurative language by this, so this is not teaching them figurative language. This is review. Then let's see. The next one is text structure, a little video on what it is, notes. I don't have kids take notes anymore because everything is digital, but this is teaching. Here's some examples. Then here's more examples from real text with the kids deciding on the text structure. We do a lot of like walk around the room activities to get them up moving. So this is one, we have them set up their notebooks first. And then I have this slide. Again, I was teaching this in December, so it's very wintry looking, but easy. Here's my YouTube video down here for how to change out the video if you're not doing it to that time period. And then you would just print these and hang these around the room and the kids walk around and talk. There's 8. I have the answers for you. I always cover it up because I give kids access to my slides. So I put these to cover up the answers because some of them look ahead. These are all the skills that we've been working on. Next one, author's purpose. This is also a review, but they do work. Then here we're back to depth and complexity icons. Now we're talking about trends. I also teach world history, so we connect world history to what we're learning. Then the focus annotations are always, the focus annotations, you'll learn this if you buy it and you look at it. The focus annotations are specific things that I want them to look for just in that chapter. And then standard annotations are anything that they notice. So I'm very specific because it would take, I teach 6th grade, it would take a 6th grader forever to find the figurative language that I want. So we usually just give the page number and then ask them to find it. So it's more work with depth and complexity icons. Then we get to mood and tone and do some skill work with that. More review of figurative language. And then this is really cool. We call it a brain dump. This was one that we did last year that we showed the kids as a sample. And here is one that a teacher did. It's basically all of the skills that they've learned in 6th grade, and they have to do it for a specific chapter. So here's the chapter they're going to do it for, chapter 10, which is it's a long chapter because the video is 25 minutes. And then this is the directions. I do print this off to give them a checklist, and they hunt for 10 of these things, and they have to put it artistically on paper. Some don't want to do artistic. I'm like, as long as it's neat and I can read it. And then it includes some sentence starters to help them with their brain dump. It's very self-explanatory. So here's some, we like to include video clips for fun. I think you say NIMSA. I actually don't know if I'm saying that right, but here's a video on the food that William eats and talking about how they make it. This is a connection lesson. There is a group of kids that live at a landfill in South America, and they make instruments out of the garbage that's left in the landfill. And so it connects to William and how he uses trash to make his windmill. More academic conversation using these stems. And then the next set of skill that we teach them is part to whole. How does this part fit within the whole of the text? And then the groups have to look within chapter 12 and decide how that part fits and then write about it. Central idea, revisit again. This is another connection. They read a nonfiction text called The Hippo Roller, which is basically, it looks like a wheelbarrow, sort of like a water container on a wheelbarrow, and it was invented to help them from carrying water on their heads because it was hurting their necks. And so they connect to that and do some work with that. A revisit of theme topics. They've already learned this, but reviewing it. More chapter work. More central main idea. Okay, then we do a nonfiction text about madness and the 4 different types of madness. And so the kids have to learn the difference between bad, mad, sad, and glad madness. There's 4 different types. They're not all bad. And then they talk about what they think William is and his obsession with building the windmill, even though the whole town thought he was insane for even trying. And then I put this slide for you. As a grade level, we watched the movie Temple Grandin. It's on Prime Video. It was on HBO. It still may be on HBO, but I don't get that at school. Prime Video does show up at our school. It's not blocked. and I linked it here for you. It's Claire Danes. It's a wonderful movie, and it's about autism, and the kids love it. And so we connect the talk about madness to Temple Grandin. And here's just a video of Claire Danes winning the Golden Globe for it. And then I included this because we take a giant test around this time, like a district test. And I made these slides for inspiration and about how Lin-Manuel Miranda became obsessed with acting in sixth grade, since I teach sixth grade, and then what he went on to make of himself. So, and the kids love that. And then we have a discussion. So this is 181 slides in total with all kinds of skills, all kinds of link docs for you. There's no quizzes, there's no tests because we do that separately. But it's a great slide deck, and I teach this throughout the fall and winter. Thank you.